and namaste. This is Indigo Angel. My name is also Amanda, and today I was guided to jump on and do a Syrian energy update for the month of July. I really wanted to get this update out like before the 3rd, but I'm kind of glad that I waited, essentially because July 3rd through the 7th was the gateway that had opened up. It's essentially when our sun was the farthest away from the earth, and so the Syrian energies were actually, the Syrian sun is actually closer to earth than our sun, so we were essentially integrating high cosmic Christed galactic diamond, gold, silver, pearlescent gray, diamond white, all of these diamond light codes that we were essentially integrating into our physical body on a photonic level, on a subatomic level, on a molecular level, within the quantum field, within the toroidal field, within the deepermost inner aspects, our plasma. So we are essentially integrating these cosmic light codes from Sirius and from our sun. So there's a lot going on energetically, cosmically, galactically, planetarily right now. I mean, it literally feels like the 4th of July to me. As a multidimensional being who is attuning to multiple frequency bands on the earth and collectives on the earth, I do feel like the energies right now are highly expansive, highly profound, highly spiritual, but there's a lot of details that go into each aspect of what I'm trying to put into my mind for y'all to perceive. So I want to go in more into these aspects of kind of like where the collective is shifting. Essentially, we've been kind of like flowing through the collectives. Like each collective is kind of like, I feel like in some level, those who hold predominant genetics for certain collectives, so like Orion or Sirian or Palladian, like their consciousness kind of like, they stay in a certain perception or a certain mode or a certain mission. But as you attune to more collective galactics, you essentially embody all the missions. So for me, I'm like traveling through like each one of these energies to embody as source self, to embody as the mission, to embody as what I'm going to anchor into the planet as a galactic. But those who might be unconscious to these aspects tend to stay in a certain frequency band when in certain most predominant genetics. So like Orion starseeds seem to stay more in a dualistic nature, a more fourth dimensional, I mean their soul is ascending essentially like fourth dimensionally, so perceiving the higher self, perceiving all of these things, but like there's a lot of shadow work that's to be done in Orion. And as a collective, it's kind of like these little personal journeys of uncovering the shadows within everybody's individualistic shadow, not collective shadow. It's collectively moving the shadow on earth for the collective. So it's like the collective Orion is collectively moving and illuminating the shadow right now in the Syrian energies. Palladian collective is essentially spiritually assisting in the evolution of the spiritual development in the collective. So it's like everybody with like predominant Palladians are like the spiritual healers, and they're like collectively moving the energy in the spiritual ascension aspect. But Syrian is like heavy, I don't even want to say heavy, but it's just so profound. It's so cosmic. It's like now that we have aligned with Sirius, now that this gateway has opened, we're directly aligning to the galactic wave. We're directly aligning to the galactic center, which is interesting to me because it's supposed to be like a pulse away from the galactic center. But the galactic center is supposedly filled with a ton of black holes. So this is like interesting to me, and I need to find out more about this aspect. But essentially aligning to Sirius allows us to align to the galactic pulse, like wave X is what it's called. So the energies are so cosmic that we can't even identify like everything that we're integrating, but what it is doing is from this integration, and it is essentially obliterating programming that we hold within. It's obliterating density that we hold within. It's obliterating anything cellularly within your physical body, within your organs. A lot of people that have anxiety or have any type of fears or just essentially unacknowledgement and repressed aspects of their shadow, this suppression of this aspect of themselves, like a lot of this energetically gets built up in the organs. And so it gets built up in the 10th dimensional bodily systems, which is like the bone structures, the neurons, your neurological system, all of these systems that we have. Your skeletal system, your muscular system. I mean, there's 10 essentially systems to the human body. So essentially we're integrating this, and it's going for these aspects because diamond light frequency activations essentially obliterate density. So depending on where the evolution of your consciousness is, depending on like where you're at in your spiritual journey, it's gonna like catapult you to the next level of awareness in your consciousness. So it's going to trigger, illuminate, activate, catapult, all of these words to describe thrusting you into like the next direction. So this is a lot of high energy. And so as a multidimensional galactic, I'm trying to see like where these cosmic waves are. I feel that like as we integrate more of these Syrian diamond light codes, the Orion collective is essentially illuminating more shadow. It's catapulting them more into illuminating more of the darkness. It's ultimately triggering a lot of the Orion collective because it's illuminating their shadow aspects. It's illuminating all of the galactic war history that resides in Orion. So it's essentially part of the Lyran. Like Lyrans support Orions as well. Lyrans support all of the galactic missions. They're like the supportive, like foundational energy, but they're essentially assisting Orions with clearing ancestral programming, ancestral lineages. This is a very profound year, the year of illumination. And so Lyran's mission is to essentially clear ancestral programming from the collective because they're wanting to heal timelines. They're wanting to shift the collective ultimately into Trinity consciousness, unity consciousness, universal consciousness. They're wanting to shift out of the dualistic consciousness into the Trinity. Lyrans are assisting Orions with this process as well, because one way that we get there is by illuminating the shadow, by illuminating the darkness. So yeah, I'm kind of going into that a lot, but it's kind of just an important piece for starseeds to understand the underlying creational energies that go into galactics, because essentially they're all working together. They're all simultaneous to one another. It's all interdimensional. It's all outside of the Gregorian calendar. It's all outside of the 1260 matrix. It's all outside of programming, belief systems, environmental, parental, societal, ancestral. All of this existing as free space, existing as a galactic, existing as a quantum, existing as a multidimensional. All of these perceptions reside outside of those systems, beliefs, and programming. So essentially this information is just important to the starseed who is expanded consciousness, because there's a lot that goes into what we're integrating right now and which way the collectives are going. So different collectives are doing different things for the planet all simultaneously as one working piece, as one functioning, unified, harmonic, universal resonance. So for me, the opening of this Syrian gateway, the highlighting pieces to this whole activation has been the lost magic of galactic harmony awakens within us. So I feel like having gone through Orion Collective, illuminating the deeper shadow aspects of our civilization, and really like bringing awareness to our time. Time is highly illuminated right now. Collectively, all of our attention awareness is coming down into our systematic structures of time, which is the Gregorian calendar, the 1260. I know I've been talking about this, anybody who's following me. But essentially, we're awakening to the galactic harmony within us. So the Gregorian calendar, the 1260 matrix, is essentially linear time. So you start to learn how to function as a galactic. So like time only matters when it needs to, essentially. Like you set your realities to function completely around time because it doesn't exist. But so you're just seeing that matrix programming, but you're not existing there from a place inside of you. So like we're essentially attuning our awareness more to the realities and the possibilities of existing in the 1320 matrix and time system, which is essentially the Mayan calendar. And it's funny because the Mayan calendar ended, but here we are like reactivating this within our awareness. And I feel like it's the Syrian energy that has the 777 codes coming in, the 144 codes coming in, the 441 codes coming in. And that is essentially because we have like upgraded our neurocerebral receptors to go like super conscious, meta conscious, quantum conscious right now because of these integrations of the Syrian light codes. Like we're actually essentially receiving light codes from the galactic center, Sirius, Sun, and Alcyon. Essentially, clearing is like super highly necessary right now. So if you're highly empathic, highly sensitive to these energies, clearing is gonna be what's most important right now. Simply because July 3rd through the 7th was the open gateway. The 3rd, 4th, and the 5th, we had high magnetics in the body. So we were pulling energy into us. So we were having a lot of density. We were actually expanding in photonic light inside of ourselves. So this expansion was causing us to feel extremely dense. But then that lifted on the 5th, and that was partly one of the reasons why I couldn't get this video out, is because I was going through so much heavy integration. Like as soon as that gateway opened, it was like I was down the 3rd, 4th, and the 5th, integrating. But essentially I was holding the most expanded states. So we were actually holding highly expanded geometric structures within our physical body. We were holding like, oh, there's a butterfly. We were holding like tetragrammaton structures within, holding highly 12th dimensional expanded states of consciousness that had to collapse. So they expanded and then they collapsed, and then they're breaking down into new structures. Essentially the geometrics are like breaking down into new structures. So essentially we're having structural breakdowns and then rebuilding of structures in the body. So we're going through a lot. We're going through a lot of rewrites right now, physical body rewrites. So we're having a lot of ascension symptoms. You may be feeling like you're going through expansion and contraction. I know that I felt like I was being squeezed. Honestly, I felt like I was being sat on. like on my chest by an elephant, because some of these codes go straight for the organs. They go straight for the lungs. When we are expanding and wherever we're holding things inside, this is where it goes for first. This is where photonic light goes first. That's why clearing is so important in these energies. And you can actually have a lot of acceleration in your consciousness right now. A ton of acceleration, actually, because of the conscious work that you're doing through the integration of these light codes. You're essentially like staying on top of it. You're like riding the cosmic wave. You're like on your surfboard and you're like just like, I got this, I didn't slip underneath it, I didn't go unconscious. And you can start essentially like utilizing the cosmic wave to propel yourself, to activate yourself, to thrust you even farther into these like meta-conscious, meta-quantum states of cognition, and anchoring in of new realities into your 3D culmination point, into your physical, into your timeline, essentially, because you're not going unconscious and you're staying on top of it and riding the wave. So like, yes, we do have all these perspectives of collectives and which waves they're riding. I can feel all of these waves, but it's like for my expanded states and for riding this wave, I need to clear through it, because when I'm integrating and I'm clearing, then when I have that lift essentially of the magnetics in the body, I'm then propelled and I accelerate that much more. And then everything in your reality is an activation, but when you're in those states of enlightenment, hyper-enlightenment, hyper-plasmic harmonics and attunement and resonant, you're extra activated. So everything's like even more activation, and the more you become present in your activation, the more you can kind of harness that. And it's just really is magical, like the 4th of July. Let me get back to the 20 galactic civilizations on Earth, because I had talked about this being, this Syrian energy being the lost magic of galactic harmony that's awakening within us right now. So we're awakening to the 20 galactic civilizations on Earth because we have 6 planets going retrograde. It's essentially like slowing everything down within us. So we're actually going deeper into the subconscious mind right now. We're going very deep into the subconscious. The integrations are really heavy. So the activation to this 20 galactic civilizations on Earth is essentially activating us to the 13 tones of the 4th dimension. It's activating us to 13 tone cosmology of the 4th dimension, which gets me to the fact that we're in a wave spell still too. So we're in a wave spell until the 13th. So we have just lightened the magnetic energy that we integrated from the 3rd through the 7th. We're still in a yellow seed wave spell. Then we're going right back into like hyper Sirian energies again on the 23rd. So on the 23rd, it's just like essentially the whole month of July is a galactic activation portal, the entire month. So you can see how it's a thrust of energy. It's a huge pulse. It's huge pulsations. It's essentially like activating the golden age timelines even more as well. So like it's activating the Atlantean, the Lemurian, it's activating the Egyptian, it's activating the Mayan. So all of the galactic civilizations, they're activating within us right now. So this is hyper profound growth in our spiritual evolution, in our spiritual revelation, in our ascension. We're being like thrusted and catapulted into the next level of awareness in this month. Like the possibilities are limitless because it's a galactic activation portal. Like it's a huge galactic activation portal. So it's like really like people are activating to profound states of awareness galactically, even just within their own like physical awareness in their physical body. Those of you who are starseeds that are just starting out, like having full body activations right now, having full chakra alignment, feeling the crown chakra for the first time, feeling the I am presence for the first time. Because this is essentially the temple of truth. The entire month is the temple of truth. Because, like I said, Sirius is going to rise on the 23rd, and then it's another 55-day cycle, aligning to galactic center. So it's really incredible right now, the energy. So goddess Isis, as you know, as we all know, the dog star, the Egyptians revered Sirius as goddess Isis. So this is the star of goddess Isis. It's essentially like the divine feminine. And I was getting visions of Mother Mary, goddess Isis, and Metatron. So these are all seventh ray spiritual creation energies. And because these energies are so like quantum, these energies are so profound within the body, and they're obliterating so much on such a acceleration, because it's almost like the wavelengths that are coming in a lot faster. Like internally and subconsciously, because of the retrogrades, we're slowing down and we're like diving more deeply and profoundly into the subconscious and illuminating this aspect because of all of the profound integrations. But in the same token, we're having like rapid collapses of realities. A lot of people in the collective's realities are collapsing because of the high photonic light integration. So any type of distortion that you hold within yourself is coming up to be exposed, is coming up to be illuminated. Every single distortion right now. So it's just like, I can't even put into words how profound the energies are for every individual's life. If you're riding the wave, if you're harnessing that energy, if you're working with it, it's going to propel you. If you're holding lack and separation and density and duality within, your reality is going to collapse. And that's not even like something to sound scary or anything like that, but it's like new beginnings, transformation. But you're going to have to feel everything to the deepest depths of your core. You're going to have to feel everything, because that's how you accelerate to the next level of consciousness, of awareness. So I wanted to get into the 144 and 441 codes just a little bit. If anybody's heard of the 441 matrices, it's essentially a living system. Mathematically and geometrically is the structure to the pyramids, is the structure to the Trinity within, is the structure to complete illumination. I kept getting visions of like many Christed beings. It was like hundreds and hundreds of Christed beings, and they were like coming up out of earth portals and just like walking up out of the earth's portals. Energetically, these cosmic waves are activating the 7 heptid gates in the mind, and that's where the 777 comes in. So the 777 and the 441 and the 144 codes are all connected to each other. The 7s because it's redirecting awareness to the human physical body and how it's all one and how it's all integrated into all these aspects. But essentially it is the awareness of the 7 chakras, the 7 mental spheres, the 7 heptid gates, the 7 radial plasmas that are actually located in the different areas of the brain. Dali, Celi, Gamma, Kali, Alpha, Limi, and Silo. And if you're wanting any of this information, then you can find it in the Cosmic History Chronicles. But essentially, it's the 1320 codes. So 777, 144, 441 are the 1320 codes. They are the 441 matrices. Stepping into a completely different reality and perspective of times based off the 13 tones of the 4th dimension. Sirius is essentially the gateway to heaven. It's our spiritual sun. It also holds the energy of our most expanded and free states. It's essentially full 12th dimension, full 13 tone activation, Metatron, Tetragrammatron, building and expanding up of geometric structures within the body, to have collapses, to have rewipes. And the rewipes are us becoming foggy, they're us entering into void spaces, losing our memory because gravity is starting to go within the body. It's almost like we can't hold on to gravity within anymore. As the light body activates and becomes more expanded with inside of us, gravity starts to go. So that's where the memory starts to go. But I don't think it's anything to worry about because it's just excelling and propelling us into the next levels and states of consciousness. Okay, so just know that more and more of you, whether you're Lyran, Pleiadian, Sirian, Orion, just call yourself a galactic. Because essentially, as you expand in consciousness, as you keep making this the priority in your life, you're going to expand to new perceptions and you're going to expand to the new genetics that you hold within yourself. So even if you're like stuck in Orion duality right now, the more shifts that we have, especially through these portals and gateways, these galactic activation portals, it's essentially going to thrust you into new truths, into more deeper knowing and more remembering, more awakening to remember. So like I said, on the 23rd, we have the rise of Sirius, and it's a 55-day cycle, and this is where Sirius actually appears on the horizon before the sun does, next to the Egyptian pyramids. So, and this for the Egyptian marked the flooding of the Nile. So they like really revered Sirius and like the knowledge and wisdom that it integrated into their civilization. So they're one of the 20 galactic civilizations. So it's like we're activating our awareness more to these civilizations. And Isis ruled over death and rebirth. When Sirius appears, it's the realm of the gods. It's when we can journey into the gateway for messages from the divine. So like I said, if you're riding that wave, that cosmic wave, you can like really harness these energies to propel and accelerate your journey right now. So one thing I did want to talk about was the 7 heptid gates of the hollow mind perceiver. So this is the 7th mental sphere in the mind, because we're having the 7th ray activate right now, which I kind of feel like Sirius is the first ray. I kind of feel like Sirius is like the blue ray of creation because it's a blue star and it's like the goddess energy of the galactic wave, that like it's the galactic wave, then the goddess energy, then it's the Alcyon, then it's Earth. So it's like, I feel like the blue ray is like the feminine ray. The blue ray is the first ray of creation. And the blue ray, essentially, once this is activated, you're activated all rays, all creational rays of creation. And so the 7th is open, and the 7th is the highest in the hierarchy. The 7th is Archangel Metatron, essentially. And it's also essentially, which it's funny because I kind of feel like, honestly, Metatron is feminine. Like, Shekinah is actually the feminine Metatron. So Shekinah is the Tetragrammatron. So it's essentially activating gate 7, which is Sirius Beta 52, element 113, hyperplasmic enlightenment. And this is all 9th dimensional within. So everybody is like activating 9th dimensionally inside, but it's catapulting us into a lot of magnetic energy, which is making a majority of the collective not be able to perceive the integrations because of the planetary retrograde, which is forcing everybody into the subconscious really deeply. So ultimately, it's just crazy. It's so cosmic. It's so beautiful though. Yeah, so I just wanted to jump on real quick to talk about the Syrian energies. If you're resonating with this energy update, please feel free to like and comment on the video. I do check all the comments, and I do appreciate all of the likes and all of the comments. I do appreciate the people who have reached out to me and who've been supporting me, so thank you so much for that. I hope that everybody enjoyed this energy update for today. And I'll try to put out another video soon. I actually think I'm going to be doing quantum frequency activation for stargates, for all stargates. So that's probably going to be my next video, because I feel myself harnessing the wave and clean, like I'm telling you, like clearing is super important. And just remember too, like focus on each chakra individually. Give yourself like a few days to do this. Like go through each one individually, because each one carries an astral body, an etheric body, a light body. Like each chakra has its own like bodily like aspects to it. So it's like work on the physical body, work on here first, and you can work on here, and then you can go expansive galactic quantum. But you got to start in the body, and even as you become galactic, you go back in within the body. It's a constant like clearing process. So yeah, I hope you all resonated with this. I hope that everybody is having fun integrating these diamond light codes and riding the cosmic wave. I hope you have a beautiful day. Namaste.